All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a really fascinating cultural puzzle. At the heart of it all is a sport that is just coincidentally English, born in the rural fields way back in the 16th century. And yet today, its most passionate fans, its biggest stars, and all of its financial power, well, they're thousands of miles away, in the very lands the British Empire once ruled. This is the story of how cricket became a truly global game. This quote from the scholar Ashish Nandi, it just perfectly frames our entire discussion. Cricket is an Indian game accidentally discovered by the British. It's a provocative idea, right? It suggests that while the English may have invented the game, it was really in South Asia that cricket found its true soul. This sets up the central theme for us, a story of cultural adoption, transformation, and in the end, a quiet revolution.
So this is the big question we're going to be answering. How did a game, once used as a tool of empire, become something that feels more like a religion in its former colonies? To really understand this, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Let's start with how the seed of the game was first planted across the globe.
Our story begins, as you might expect, with the expansion of the British Empire. In this first part, we'll take a look at how cricket basically followed the flag, spreading from these quiet English villages all the way to the bustling shores of India, Australia, and the Caribbean. Now, what's so interesting here is how this timeline really maps the journey of the game. It starts as a simple pastime back in the 1600s, but look what happens next. By 1721, British sailors are already playing it in India. Then, by the late 1700s, settlers have taken it with them to these far-flung colonies. And by 1792, you've got a formal club in Calcutta. The 19th century just sealed the deal. The sport spread systematically, wherever the empire put down roots. You see, cricket was an export, just as much as tea or textiles. So you have to ask, why cricket? Why this particular game? Well, it was part of a broader colonial idea known as the civilizing mission. The British genuinely believed their culture was superior, and that it was their duty to export it. Cricket, with all its emphasis on gentlemanly conduct, strict rules, and the idea of fair play, was seen as the perfect way to teach Victorian morality to the people they ruled. It was never just a game. It was meant to be a lesson. And this really gets to the heart of it. For the British administration, cricket was a strategic tool. It was a way to create a kind of common cultural language, a way to show off British ideals, and, at the end of the day, a way to maintain a peaceful and ordered society. The cricket field was like a little controlled environment where the rules of the empire could be played out. Before we move on, let's just pause here for a moment. Up to this point, the story has been about the British imposing their game on others, but that is only half the story. Next, we're going to look at the crucial turning point, where the subjects of the empire didn't just learn the game, they started to master it, and in doing so, they began to change it forever. You see, for the colonized people, the cricket pitch became one of the very few places where they could actually challenge their rulers on a level playing field. And as they started to play more, they started to win. This is where the whole narrative shifts, from cricket being a tool of control to it becoming an arena of resistance.
Let's look at this comparison, because it is absolutely key to understanding everything. On one side, you have the British view. Cricket is a gift, a symbol of shared imperial values. But on the other side, a completely different perspective was forming. For the players in India, the West Indies, and elsewhere, it became an incredibly powerful platform. Beating the English at their own game, well, that was a powerful symbolic act. It was a way to prove you were equals and to build a sense of national pride that would be so important in the coming struggles for independence.
So how exactly did they remake the game? Well, first, locals didn't just copy the English. They adapted the game to fit their own cultures. This led to a more flamboyant, a more entertaining style of play, especially in South Asia. Then, the sport became this powerful vehicle for national pride. For many of these new nations, beating England wasn't just a sporting victory. It was a political statement. It was a symbolic act of independence. And of course, as new nations were born, new rivalries came up, with matches like India versus Pakistan taking on the weight of decades of political history. This quote from Simon Barnes really captures that transformation perfectly. The simple pastime from the fields of England had become layered with politics, identity, religion, and history. It was now a deeply complex, incredibly meaningful cultural event, a world away from its humble origins.
Okay, so that brings us to the modern era. Because the subversion of the game on the field was followed by what was really nothing short of a revolution off of it. The 20th and 21st centuries saw this dramatic shift in cricket's global power structure, moving the center of the game decisively away from its birthplace. This transformation really happened in a few clear steps. First, you had the one-day game, which made cricket faster and much more exciting for TV. Then, in 2003, T20 cricket was born, an even shorter, 3-hour format that was an instant hit. But the crucial moment, the real game changer, was the launch of the Indian Premier League, the IPL, in 2008. This league just pumped unbelievable amounts of money into the sport and cemented India's place as the new heart of the cricketing world. So, the most important point here is this. The power in world cricket is no longer in London at Lord's Cricket Ground. The commercial, the cultural, and you could even say the spiritual home of the game is now in South Asia, and primarily India. This is a complete reversal of that old colonial dynamic. And if you need any proof of that, just look at the money. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, the bcci, is by far the wealthiest cricket board on the planet. Its revenue just dwarfs that of the traditional powers like Australia and England. Money talks, and in world cricket today, it speaks with a very distinct Indian accent. Now, beyond this power shift, the game has also become truly global. Today, the International Cricket Council has 108 member nations. That's a testament to the sport's incredible expansion, far beyond its original colonial borders. Let's take a look at where some of that new growth is happening. Cricket is now finding new fans in some really unexpected places. It's growing fast in the United States. European nations like the Netherlands and Germany have competitive teams. And that franchise league model, the one pioneered by the IPL, is being copied all over the globe, from the Caribbean to the UAE, creating this year-round calendar of high-stakes T20 cricket. So as we start to wrap this up, you can really see the sport's incredible journey in 3 distinct acts. It began as a simple English pastime. It was then used as a tool of empire. And finally, it was transformed by its former subjects into a global commercial giant with a whole new world order firmly in place. Which leaves us with one final fascinating question to think about. Is cricket the most enduring legacy of the British Empire, that last cultural link to a colonial past? Or is its modern form, dominated and defined by the very nations it was once forced upon, the ultimate symbol that the empire has truly been played out?